Okay. Okay, so this is, I'm going to close this now. This is Visual Studio Code. Let me just start from the beginning. Yeah. So to open Visual Studio Code, I use MacBook. So I don't know if you're using MacBook, well, we're going to have the same screen. I'm just going to search for, this is the software. This is the way it looks like after you download it. Yeah, this is how it looks like. Just click on it to open. All right, so this is it. Now this is what you get. Now I create all this. These are my stuff. Yeah, so you're not going to see all this because you're starting from the scratch. Okay, so I'm going to close this. You don't have to do anything. Maybe just focus, but I will. So now, to create a website, you need to create a folder. You need to create a folder where all your web content will reside in. And how does that work? Yeah. So I can go to this icon here that has 2 pages. You can see that the first thing you see here. Yeah. So this icon here signifies that you want to explore the things on your computer. This icon here signifies that you are searching for information. Let me click on it now. You see that? The first one is you want to open something on your computer, you know, or you want to clone repository. We don't want to go here yet, just focus on this. You want to open a folder on your computer. So that's when you click on these 2 pages. I'm going to click back to take it away. Click again. I want to search for stuff on the folder or anything. Click on that. Click back again to hide it. Yeah. Open folder again on on GitHub. Again, forget about this, you know. But I think the one that's important for us now is this one, the first one, close back, and this one, extension. Extension is once you set up your Visual Studio Code, you need to actually include a couple of stuff in it for you to run well, for you to see what you're doing. All right. So first of all, let me show you how we can create the folders. So I'm going to go back again to this one that I said is very important. Yeah, click on it. Here I have open folder. So there's no option to create a folder here. Yeah, once you come here, you just click open folder. But when you click on open folder, you can actually create it there. So open folder, when there is no folder to open, yeah, you can create it on the fly. So now this is my desktop. I click on my desktop, I double click. I've created Win, that's for your thing there. That's the folder I've created. But if I haven't yet, I'm on my desktop, I can create a new folder here. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Web Design. Web Design, where's my glasses? Yeah, you can see that? So I've created the folder on the fly. Then I'll now choose open. So what have I done? I created a folder by clicking on this place. You see, because there was nothing on the system then, it gave me that option to open folder. Then I clicked on open folder and now created a folder on the fly. Now, if for instance, you have a folder created already, yeah, and I've not opened that folder here, you can actually go to your computer and click on open folder as well, and that will come up. So the fact that I have opened a folder, I created a folder and it's now open in Visual Studio Code, I will have this thing here, this welcome thing. Yeah, I'll close it. This was here anyway before. I'll just close it. Welcome. I'll close it. So this is what you should see now after closing that welcome screen. So back to this page, let's see whether a folder was actually opened. So I'll click on it. Now you can see that web design is open. You can see that here, it's there. But there's nothing inside. There's no page, it's just a folder that I just connected Remember I told you that this is a house. The ID is a house. Now I'm connecting the folder to this house to say, yes, I want to work on this folder. So everything that I'm going to be doing on this website, I'll be creating it inside the folder from inside of Visual Studio Code. So what we're going to do now, we're going to create our first page, right? The first page, every first page or home page in web design is called index, INDEX. Now, remember I said we are going to be doing HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript. Yeah? HTML is the background, is the structure. So you need to create the structure first. And that index usually is the structure. And so we need to give the page that we're going to create called index an extension. And that extension is called HTML. Yeah? Remember, CSS is the one that dresses you up. So when we're creating a CSS page, we call it .css. When we're creating JavaScript, .javascript, .js, JavaScript, JS. So now, first of all, we need to remember I said the HTML is the body, the naked body. You have to create that first before we now create CSS, which will now dress you up. All right. So now we have the folder. Let's create a page, the index page. So, sorry, I put my glasses on now so I can see all of the little stuff. So, so this icon here, you can see there are 4 icons here. When you're practicing, if you're not looking at your computer, just look at it. There are 4 icons here. The first one here is when you want to create a new file. That's a new page. The second one is if you want to create a folder inside your page, inside your main web design page, because you need to create folders as well. Then this is if you want to refresh, if you want to explore, you will hardly use this too. So most of the times you'll be creating pages and folders. Now, you've created a web design page, the main page. Now, your website will contain several sections. Remember, we have the CSS, we have the JavaScript, yeah, and the index. So we want to put them in nice folders. You don't want them to be all over, scattered all over the place. So you want to tidy up. So when you're learning how to design websites, learn to be tidy while you're doing it. A lot of people, they start from the side, you see their web page, oh, messy. No, learn to put them in different, like files will be in like folders. All right. So I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call that folder images. So this images is where I'm going to be putting all the pictures that will be on my website. You see that? Images folder, that's it. Now I'm going to create another folder. Who can tell me what folder I should create? Yes. Remember I said for a website, you need HTML, you need JavaScript, you need CSS. Okay, so it's best to put all the different folders, all the different types of files in different folders. The one that you may not put in a folder is the HTML ones, because they are the real pages. The other ones are just different content that you attach to the HTML page. So let me create another folder. I'm going to call that escape. It should not be inside. Let me close the images folder. So if you're creating another folder, I want to make sure I click on the main folder while I'm creating another folder. Otherwise, if I touch images folder and I click on new folder, it will be created inside images folder, and that's not what I want. I want to create a folder under web design called CSS because it's on its own, CSS. Then the next one I will create will be JavaScript. We may touch that, but let's see. But this is just to show you the different section of a website. So the different files of a website. So I go back again to web design. I'll create another folder and I'll call that JavaScript. You know, I just say JS, it's usually known as JS. Okay, so these are the major folders that needs to be created. Yeah, and let me show you why this is on our slide. Yeah, I think I mentioned it somewhere. Can you see that? The code, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's JS. So these are main things that we need to create. So that's why I created separate folders for them. Okay. So back here, now that we created the folders, let's now create the HTML page. Remember I said the first page of a website is usually index. So again, I'm going to select the main folder because I don't want to put the page inside any of this folder. I just want it to be outside of the web design page because the HTML page is the structure. So I'll go to web design again, click on the folder. This time around, I'm not creating a folder, I'm creating a file. Yeah, that's it. Click on that. You can see the way it looks different from the folders. Look at the side. So I'm going to call this index.html. Enter. You can see the icon now. It looks different. So this is where we're going to now start putting our content. Now, I am going to go to ChatGPT now, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate me just a simple, the simplest of page, and I'll put it here. I will take a look at how it looks like. We have created a structure now. Now we want to put content for in the page using ChatGPT. So I'm going to go back here now, go to my Internet Explorer. Let me create, that's my ChatGPT here. Hope you can see that. That's ChatGPT icon there. I just click on it and see it has opened a new ChatGPT page for me. Now I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate a website for me. Okay, so I'm going to say generate or create, doesn't matter. Generate, am I spelling that well? Generate a homepage for, in fact, I'm just going to do this for myself. I said for E3 closets. Let's try that. E3, that's the name of my business, closets. Yeah. So I'm saying generate a homepage for E3 closets. See the way I specified it? Homepage. So it will know what should be in the homepage. And I'm going to specify only HTML. It's HTML I want. Yeah. Generate a HTML. I'm being specific now. Homepage for E3 closets. Then I just click enter. Okay. So it has done too much now. I'm going to tell you. You see this, the prompt I use, I've done too much and this will confuse you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to actually minimize this content for me. See, ChatGPT generated HTML and CSS codes together, you know, just so that like a full web page. But I don't want that. These are the CSS one. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT now to create own, I say remove the CSS. I don't want it. Remove CSS codes.
But sis, how do we identify it if it's a CSS code or HTML code? Since we are not
you don't know it. Good question. Good question. Here's it. Anything that has, you see this code here. When I start teaching the CSS, you understand better. And so maybe what I should have done, because I'm teaching, yeah, I don't want when you know it, even if it does it like this, it's fine. Because I'm teaching, I don't want to mess it up with CSS. I just want only HTML. Then later I will say, okay, give me only CSS. Do you understand? So like the way it generated it now, the way you know that it's generated CSS and HTML together. HTML starts with open bracket and close bracket. You can see that this less than and greater than. Yeah? I was going to explain that once I generate the HTML. I'll explain what the code is all about anyway. But because you asked me now, so this is where you identify it. Any code that has this closing, this less than and greater than sign, anything that has it is HTML. This is HTML, this is HTML, this style. But you see this one, it does not have body, it does not have anything. This body tag and heading does not have HTML. So you know that this is CSS. These are CSS. Anyone that start with dots, the thing, these are all CSS. And I will explain all that later on. You see that? But CSS is enclosed inside an HTML tag, style. Remember CSS I said is the one that's the beautiful thing. That is why it's enclosed inside what we call HTML style. Yeah, you can see that. And this is this method of coding, when you add CSS and HTML together, you know, it's not advisable. Yeah, it's not advisable. We will call it spaghetti coding. You have too many things going on. So it's best to separate the different stuff. That's why I'm creating folders for each of them. Do you get it? So this is spaghetti coding, not a good coding, not a good way to code. Yeah. So that is why I'm coming back now to say, maybe what my first prompt, let me go and edit my first prompt. You can go back and edit it, maybe to make sure it does not give me CSS code. I'll go back to my first prompt. Remember, see my first prompt, say generate HTML homepage for E3 close. I'm going to edit it, and I'll say only HTML tag. I could specify do not include CSS. Yeah. At least now that you're learning it, you will know that when you are creating your prompts, you know, you just want only the HTML now. Don't mix it with CSS. Okay. So let's see whether my prompt works. See that? Only HTML now. You can see that. No CSS. And that's what I want. Yeah. Okay. So it has created the HTML structure for me. So I'm going to come here. I'll copy. It gives you that option to copy it. You see that? To copy only the code, not those text out before or after it. So I'm just going to click on copy. Right? And I'll go to my VS Code. Remember, I've created the HTML page. So I'll right click and paste. So it has created at least the background. It's not beautiful, it's just the text. You know, we've not dressed it up yet. But let me explain what this code is all about. It's very important you know what the code is all about. Okay. So it's saying, welcome to E3 Closet. Remember I said to create a website for E3 Closet, and it has HTML tag. First of all, before you start any HTML page, you must have an opening tag called HTML. That's it on top there, HTML tag, and a closing tag called /HTML. So for all HTML tag, there's always an opening tag and a corresponding closing tag. HTML opening tag, see, there's no slash. When you have slash in front of it, it means you're closing the tag. Okay, so this is HTML opening tag, corresponding HTML closing tag. So this is the beginning and the ending of the page. Yeah. So let's take a look at H1. H1 is the heading. H1 is what makes the text big. Bold is usually what they use for headings and all that. But there are different levels of H. Header. It's actually called header or heading. Yeah. but for the code, you use H. So 1 represents the biggest level of heading. 2, H2, slightly lower. H3, slightly lower. H4. So it depends on how big you want the heading to look like. Yeah? So H1 is the biggest, up to H6. There's nothing like H7. H1 to H6. So depending on heading. So you can see that now the first heading here says, welcome to E3. I mean, this is just, you can change it. That's one thing about the AI. You can go change the content to suit exactly what you want if you think what was generated is not what you want. Okay? So your one-stop destination for eco-conscious, elegant, and expressive fashion. That's exactly what my fashion brand is all about. Obviously, I've been exploring ChatGPT, so it knows exactly what my brand is all about. I'm eco-conscious. I think my brand comes as being elegant and is expressive in fashion. So it just helped me to create that for me. Okay. Then after that, this is the heading section. Then you now have the nav. This is the HTML for navigation. Nav, opening tag, closing tag. And this is ULI. This is for list. I suppose once we preview all this content, it will make sense, right? So what I want to do now, I have generated the HTML section. Now let me go generate the CSS section, right? I'll go generate the CSS section for us. So I'm going to go back to ChatGPT. I'll come back here and I'll say, now create the CSS for me. Let me be specific for this page, because I want this to be separated. Okay. So it has created the CSS for me. And guess what? How does it create CSS? Let's take a look at the HTML first. See HTML code, you see H1. If you see this H1 on its own, it's just going to be one black, ugly looking, welcome to E3 closet. So CSS will now take that H1, which is the HTML, and come and redefine how it should look. You see that H1? See it here? You pull that H1 from what it has on the web page. That's it here. Now it's saying, I want the text to be aligned to center. You see that? Text aligned center. So if you want that welcome to whatever to be at the center, it is the CSS that will direct that. The font size, I also want it to be 2.5 rems. So that's the rems is the unit for font size. So I want it to be this big. Now it's really redefining the default font size of HTML. Of H1. So you can redefine it. I want the color to be this. So this is the color. I don't know what this color is. They're so the hexadecimal code, but you can always search for that, you know. So define it, then that's the color. Then the margin bottom. So you want a margin. So give space at the bottom to be 10 pixels. So that means the next page coming, the next content coming after E3 closet should have a space in between. So that's the definition. So whatever you write here, you can come to your CSS to redefine it. Okay, so now we also have pound shop. So in other words, it's also defining. Okay. I'll come back to this link. This is not CSS. Let me look for another CSS. This is just okay, ID. Section ID equal to shop. Section ID is equal to shop. So that means it's saying for this section, create some CSS file that whatever you define in the CSS file will apply to this section. But it gave it a unique ID called shop. So I'm going to scroll down. Let's see whether there's shop, generated shop for me. Yeah. Section ID shop. It did not, did it? Section ID shop. Okay. So you see, this is not generating. So you can now go back and say, okay, in case you want to make use of this shop ID, you can say generate CSS for this shop. It did not create for us now, right? Section ID, about, and all that. So you can see that it did not create for the ID, then you can go back and do that. And then the footer section, let's see if it created section for footer. Let's scroll down. Footer, that's footer. So you see the footer should align center as well. It should have padding, it should have margin, you know. So it has defined some things for us that you can come back here and edit. Yeah. But once we see what this has created for us, this thing that has created, if we do not like it, we can now come back to the specific section. That is why it's good for you to understand all these codes. You know that, oh, that section, I don't like it. Then you can come back to the code and say, okay, I don't want this to be just content to be centered. I want it to be left aligned. So you come to this section and change it to left. You see that? So that is what why it's important for us to know some of the content, what they are doing, even though ChatGPT will create them for us. However, you will need to understand how to tweak it. Yeah. All right. So now let me copy the CSS. Yeah. Let me copy it and go and put it inside the VS Code. So remember, it's the item for the CSS should be located inside the CSS folder. So I'm going to select the CSS folder and now create a CSS file inside the CSS folder. So what do you use to create a file? This one here, the first icon is to create a file. So I'm click on that and I'll now call this any name. I could just call it style, S-T-Y-L-E, that's the style. But because it's a CSS file, I'll call it .css. Just like the HTML file, I call it .html. So I'll click on enter. So you can see now the CSS file is inside the CSS folder. If I close this folder, you see that CSS file has disappeared now because I created it inside the folder. Now, that's it open. There's nothing inside the CSS file. So remember, I've copied the CSS file from ChatGPT. Or let me copy it again in case I didn't. So see it here. I click on copy. Yeah. So I'll go back here to my Visual Code and paste. So now I have pasted it. I've pasted it. Okay. So at the moment, yeah, I'll go back to my index page. At the moment, there's nothing connecting my CSS file, which is style.css, to my index page. There are two separate files completely. So even if I preview this, yeah, it will not show anything. Yeah. So now, again, how do I preview my HTML file? How do I see what I'm doing? Again, you forget, just come back to your CSS. Sorry, your why we are using AI to help us. You just say, how do I preview? How do I preview what I've done? How do I preview? How do I preview my page? So to tell you, how do you see what you have just created? Okay. So now, oh, well, I need to specify it now. You see, it's just giving me a general thing now. General, whatever. I need to specify the application I'm using, which is VS Code, the IDE. So I'll go back again, or I'll edit my query. So that is why it's so good to get your prompt right. How do I preview my index page? Let me be very specific. My index page, yeah, in VS Code, yeah, and I will send. Okay. Now you guys just downloaded your Visual Code, your VS Code. For you to be able to preview what you just created, you need to install what we call Live Server. Yeah, that is if you did not install it by default. I don't know. It's been long I downloaded my own VS Code. It may be that the new VS Code will automatically install it. I'm not sure, but at least when I downloaded mine, it did not have the extension called live server. It's this live server that enables you to see your design. Okay, so but you need to install it using the extension code. You can see that in case you forget. That's why I'm using this one now. So in VS Code, go to the extension panel, search for live server by Rickwick, and click install. So let me do that now. So in VS Code, so you see this thing here? This one here, I told you that is one thing that is important as well. Click on it. Yeah. Then you now see all the extension that you can add to your VS Code. So I'll come in here and I'll just type live server. So you can see that. See me, you see that? I have it already. So if you don't have it, you see it? Live server by Rich Weekday. I've installed it already. So just click on it. Yeah. When you click on it, it gives you this option here to install. Because I have it, it's saying uninstall. So this live server enables you to view your page outside of VS Code. All right. So you install that for you to view to view your page. I know we are running late now, but I just need you to see how you preview what you have created. So install that. I'm not installing it, so I'm going to close it. Don't get confused when you see all this plenty things. Just come up here and close this. Close this, I just close here back. Click to hide it. So that has been installed. So I'm back again to our guide. Now, we've installed this. Now I want to preview. How do I preview? Then now double click on this file. If it said in your file, Explorer, navigate to your project folder, double click on index, it will open in your default browser. Okay, and so that's a manual one. But there's another way. The thing did not explain it here now. But anyway, what he's trying to say here now is that there are a couple of ways to go about it. This is a simple way, but let's see what that is. But it says to go to your folder. Remember, I created my folder on the desktop. I'm going to my desktop. And what did I call it? Website. Is this it? Is this it? Yeah, I think so. No. This is another.
You called it Win.
Oh, yeah. Was it? Did I create it? No. This is your folder, but I created when
web,
I was
web design training.
Web design training.
Oh, are you sure? No, this is not it. No,
that's not it.
No, I remember creating a folder called websites. This one. That's it here. Yeah, that's it. So you see all those things that we created, that's it here. We have them put it here. Yeah. So this is on my desktop. Websites, yeah. Remember, we created the CSS folder inside CSS code. That's the CSS code thing. The images folder, remember, that's it there. And the JS, that's it there. And the index page that we created. Okay. So now it says from ChatGPT, it says come to your folder and double click on this. See what he has created? Remember, I said is the structure. It's ugly. But it's like a naked body. It's when you now start adding the CSS. That's where you now put it in different structure or whatever. Then you can now say, okay, I don't like this CSS. Let me go and change it to this, change it to that. But let's see let's see how we can now link that CSS that we copied from ChatGPT. Let's see what it produced for us. But you can see what's generated. The H1, that's H1. I think the other side was H2. You can see that. Then paragraph, just some content. You can build on this. You can go back to ChatGPT to say, okay, create more stuff under shop our collection or put pictures or whatever. Yeah. So
is this sorry to ask, is this a one-page website now?
No, this is just the home page. Remember I said generate. Okay. Later we'll start see, this is not a one page. You can see that there's shop, about us. We have to now start creating separate pages for all this. But we're just creating the first page now.
Home page.
If you want to create a one page, that's different. Yeah. Any questions? Somebody was saying something.
Yeah, I'm just saying that this is more or less like the home page that has all the necessary informations like contact and all that.
Absolutely. That you can now click to go to the different pages. But
Yeah.
we're taking it one one at a time. So let's just do the first section first, okay? So now our next task is to see how can we connect the CSS that AI created for us to this so that it will look beautiful. I don't know how it looks like. You just generated something, yeah? But your job, once generated, you can now start changing it to what you like later on. But let's see the default thing. So again, you're stuck. How do I do it? So I'll go back again to my help. I'll say, okay, show me how to connect. Show me how to connect the folder and the CSS folder that contains, me being very explicit, that contains, remember we call the CSS style.css, that contains the style, the style.css file in my project. I just call it in my project. Let me make sure my query is right. Show me how to connect the CSS folder. Let me show you what I mean. Oh, what I'm asking now is that, remember I created the CSS folder, yeah? And it has a file called style.css. This file on its own is just, it's not connected to the HTML page. So now I want it to show me how to connect this to index, the index page. That's the HTML page. So I'm going to go back there now. So I said, show me how to connect the CSS folder that, the CSS, I should say the CSS file, that is the main thing I want. The CSS file in the CSS folder, yeah, in my project. So show me how to connect the CSS file. I could mention called style, style.css in the CSS folder in my project. Okay. So what you see what is created for me now? It's created the first set of things that's supposed to be on top of my web page that I did not create before. Your web page must contain what we call the doc type file called you see apostrophe doc type. So basically what that means is that when you open your web page on the browser, the browser will automatically know that this is an HTML page. So that is, and once you identify that, any extension, anything that will make HTML page work well, it will automatically bring that into your page. So you are telling the web browser, because it's web browser like Chrome, Safari, they are the one that reads page. So once you say the document type that is being viewed now is HTML. Okay, so you should have that. Then HTML lang, that means what language are you using? Is it English? Is it French? Is it German? So now it's English. HTML lang, English. So these are key things that our original one did not have. Now I see we are running out of time. I'll just try and conclude this in 4 minutes time. Because see, you can see the HTML, it just started straight from HTML. It did not give me all those main things. So you also need to know that before you put anything on your HTML page, you need to define certain structure in place. Yeah, which you just gave us now. So when Madasho was just saying, okay, how will I know this is, I'm teaching you indirectly now, the structure of the way things are supposed to be. First, it didn't give you that. If you do not understand HTML, whatever, you think this is it. No. It will not work well. So, but this is it. So your first thing, you need to get this. So I'm going to copy this section. Yeah. First, these two things that are very important. Copy it. Come here. I'll come here. You see my first HTML, I'll delete this one because it's supposed to have it's supposed to have this. I'm just going to delete this first one because you didn't have it. Control V. So now it's supposed to be, instead of having only HTML, I put doc type inside is HTML. Then I also now specify HTML language is English. If you want it to be French, FR or whatever, they have different language. So that's what it will read. Huh? So that's this one now. So nothing will happen to my page now, but at least I've defined it the right standard. So the web browser will interpret it correctly. Yeah. So let's go back again. So sorry, I'm running out of time. So now there's still some more things. Because we want to connect our CSS folder to our page so that we can see what it created for us. Anytime you want to connect an external file to HTML, you must put it under what we call the HTML head tag. Head. Remember, anything that has opening and closing bracket is HTML tag. So the head is the tag. So you see the opening, and this is the opening head tag, and this is the closing head tag. So all these things are external files within it. So this particular one here, link relative style sheet, href, CSS style dot whatever, you know, this is link. We're now linking the CSS. The CSS type of file is called style sheet. So that's why I have relative. That's what this is all about, is a style sheet. And href means you want to link. Href means link. When you want to link pages together, you want to go from one place to another. Yeah, href is the code for it. So now we want to, whenever you have href, you have to define where you want to have it linked to. We want to have it linked to the CSS folder. Remember, we created the CSS folder. Then inside that CSS folder, we have style.css. So it's CSS folder slash the style.css. See that? That's the link. Then also, for each page that you are creating, you must have what we call the title, again, inside the head section. This title just states the title of your page. So you can change it. Like, remember the title of my page? My page is E3 Closet. So you can change it. Then this one here, meta name, viewport, content, width defined, initiate, scale 1. What is all this blah, blah, blah all about? So it's just saying here that the viewports, yeah, I want you to give me 100% view of whatever screen I am looking at. 1 means 1, 100%. If you want to reduce it, 0 point something, goes down like that. So this is just defining the width. So whatever width, now my screen here, I have a very big screen here. My screen here is about 40 inches big. I use a Mac, the biggest MacBook. Is it 40 inches? I can't remember. I don't 35. I'm not sure. But the biggest Mac is very big. So if I view this now, it shows me everything 100%. If you have a small screen that is 10 inches, it will still show you full of it. So this is you defining the width of the device. You can also define it when you are looking at it on a what's it called, on a phone. Yeah. But let me not say too much about it. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to copy this head section, and I'll put it on our page. Remember what we are trying to do now. So I'll come in here. After the HTML lang, come in here, I'll click on enter and paste. See that? So what I've done now, I've added this new section that is created for me. And this is what is going to link our CSS to this file, right? Can you see that? This is link, HTML tag called link, because you are linking external file to it. Yeah, and the type is what type of file are you linking? Style sheet, which is CSS. And href means you are linking to something. Yeah. And what am I linking it? The address of where I'm linking it to is this CSS folder. See that? Slash, because it's inside it. So that's why you have the slash. And the file is called style.css. And that's it. Right? I don't even have to file and save because it's automatically saved. Now, let me go back to that file and see what it looks like now. Let me refresh. See what it created for me. Not the best, but it has attached the CSS section to it. Can you see that? It's different because it gave the shop whatever green color, whatever, you know, it has changed them. It has aligned the section and all that. The next time we're going to meet, we're going to redefine this. We're going to create more stuff. You can see the thing now, the links for the different pages. When you hover your cursor, you can see that it's giving you all those vibes. We can now design the different sections, give them different colors. We can do that, you know, but let's stop here. Too much information. Now, typically, when I'm teaching web design, I don't usually get to this section for the next 3 classes or 4 classes. I don't, because I have to take everybody's and small before you. But you can see what AI has helped us to do. That is why I would say AI just helps you to expedite things faster. I can never teach web design class that the first day we'll create a structure of a website. No, it's not. With CSS, it's not. All right. So let me quickly show you the assignments that I'm going to send. I hope I have it opened. Let's see. Yeah, I think so. Did I? Yeah. Okay. The objective. So you're going to create a page, create a basic personal website, page title, show the browser, add image. There are things I didn't show you, but you can tell ChatGPT to help you. Simple, but you need to just get your hands dirty on this. And I have some scores for you too. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. And probably stop share. Stop sharing and ask questions. I hope I'm so sure of you will be scared now. This is not what I signed for. It's those that are stuff that will remain standing. We only just started. Any question?
It's a kind of it's like a magic, but it's a big challenge, but I love challenges. So
yeah, I like that.
I think what one needs to do is to do more
practice.
Practice.
Yeah. I'm going to stop recording now because it's not relevant to the recording. Stop.
So you are sending us these recordings?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
Okay.